Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rain Boots, and today we're making a grumpy Grinch sock gnome. He's really easy to put together, he's super adorable, and we give him a boop if you'd like to make him stick around. As always, please like this video now so I know you're here crafting with me. Now for supplies, you're going to need socks, weight, polyfill, fur, which I colored white fur with green watercolor, decorations, and clay. Now we're going to start by making the most adorable little triangle nose, and we're just going to make sort of a blocky triangle and use a chopstick to make our nose holes, also called nostrils, you know, if you're not me. All right, and next we're going to pick up that white clay and we're going to roll a thick snake and we're going to squish it down into a marshmallow shape. I now want marshmallows. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get a little divot up in the top, make sure the bottom is relatively flat, and then we're going to get another little piece of white clay and roll a snake for our handle. Now you don't need clay tools or anything. You can use your fingers to blend these two together, or a toothpick works surprisingly well. And now the last little piece of our cocoa before we bake it is to get a brown, cut a puck, and just texturize the top a little and stick it in the middle. Bake it, but first,
Here with a friendly gnome reminder to subscribe. How? Just click that red subscribe button below and then the bell for turning on all notifications. Now let's get back to Sarah and the crafts.
Okay, so if you're new to sock gnomes, I have a video very detailed about how to make one, but we're going to start with a white sock because I couldn't find green. I added weight, I added polyfill, and I tied it off. Now I will say I no longer use food products, so rice is not recommended. But I colored mine with an oil pastel in case you can't find a green sock. That's how you can color it without it transferring color. All right, so I'm using a child's knee sock here in red, and I'm going to cut it off right above the heel into a point all the way to the toe. I'm going to turn it inside out. And then we're just going to hot glue this edge. Now people ask me all the time, how does it not pop? I use a fabric hot glue and highly recommend doing so when making gnomes. Once it's all dry, you turn it inside out and you can use the chopstick again to create that point. You're going to curl a bit of floral wire, stick it all the way up there, add polyfill, and stuff the whole thing as happy and fluffy as you want. You're going to stick the wire into the body. You're going to push it down, roll it all in between your hands to smooth it all out. And now if you need to learn how to cut faux fur, I have a video on that as well. But I'm going to take a U-shaped beard, I'm going to raise up the hat, and then glue it right directly to that sock. Turn down that, and now everything is baked and cooled, so we're just going to add hot glue to the back of our nose, lift the hat, and then put it down. Now you can see I made a little mustache here. You don't have to, but now we're going to go ahead and secure this hat because we don't need to move it. Don't secure it all the way around the brim, just a tiny little bit above the nose first, on the two sides, and then bring the back of the hat pretty far down on the back of the body. You can see it there. Okay. So, and now up, we're just going to add a little decoration. I'm using a lamb's wool fleece. You can get this usually, any craft store will have this. I've used about a 2-inch border maybe and just put it all the way around the bottom of the sock gnome. And then I did have a little piece left over. We're going to use that in just a second. Okay, so for our next piece here, we're going to make the arms because he's holding hot cocoa. Now, there's 100 different ways to make gnome arms. You can put wire in them, but I just used the little leftover piece of that sock that we had. I made a rectangle about 1 inch thick, and then I just cut it in half after it was dry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue one end right up under that hat. See it there? And the other side. And now for the other ends, we're not going to have hands, so you don't need wood beads or clay. We're just going to cut a little rectangle of fur, that green fur, and we're just going to put it right on the end there. So it looks like a hand, right? So we're going to be gluing our stuff directly to that in a second. But before we do that, we're just going to add that same lamb's wool and just cut off the excess down here on the hands. Makes it look all cute. Look at him. He needs to hold his cocoa cup. So we're just going to add a little glue to both of his hands. Here you go. And now it's time to decorate your hat, whatever you want to do. You can bend this wire any which way, loop it, swirl it, whatever. If you want to make a lamb's wool pom-pom, you just take a small square and then glue it in on itself and then glue it as the pom-pom end. I used a little bit of green ribbon and I made it really tall again so I could put everything where it needed to be, wrapped it around evenly, and then I used these little extra accoutrements from the craft store and glued on a few lights. That's it. What do you think of this cutie pie? Let me know in the comments below if you'll make him. Boop! As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Ruffles and Rainbows for more crafty fun.